It's the Security Weekly News, return to the shores of home. Then the week of 29 June 2025 and the first week of July of 2025. It's episode 490. We're only 10 episodes away from 500, if you can believe that. I'm Doug White, and welcome to the show. I did survive the Frankfurt am Main heat wave and got out just before the real heat wave struck this week. So, yeah, that's good. We've got Sony, Scattered Spider, Hikvision, Cybercrime, Iran, BSODs, Cloudflare, Josh Marpet, and more on this edition of the Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Imagine a world where every threat, ransomware, supply chain attacks, zero-day exploits, is stopped before it can even begin. ThreatLocker makes that world a reality with a zero-trust approach to cybersecurity. By giving you granular control on every executable that can happen in your environment, ThreatLocker protects your business around the clock. No more guessing, no more gaps, just rock-solid protection that keeps your operations running smoothly and your data secure. Discover how ThreatLocker's least privilege approach can safeguard your organization against known and unknown threats. Take the first step toward total peace of mind. Visit securityweekly.com/ThreatLocker today. All right, I'm Doug White, and it's the Security Weekly News. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment, or we will be forced to produce the show in 8-bit 2D graphics, and I will be pretty pixelated with you for that. See what I did there? Yeah. I don't do a lot of puns, but when I do them, they're really bad. So there you go. All right. Scattered Spider. They've made a lot of news lately. I mean, they've just been scattered all over the place. But they've actually always been a kind of focused attack group. They have traditionally focused on a single industrial sector or some group, and then just attack. They hit retail. This was their first big targets in the UK. Then they moved to the US retail. Then they went after the insurance industry. Like, wow. And now they're targeting apparently aviation and transportation. So they just keep jumping around from different sectors. It's believed, but not confirmed, that they caused incidents at Aflac, Erie Insurance, Philadelphia Insurance, and so forth. Well, on June 12th, apparently they hit WestJet, which is a Canadian airline, and it caused some brief chaos there. The attack was attributed to Scattered Spider, who had compromised WestJet's data centers and also their Microsoft Cloud environment, which resulted in a lot of response. Now, Hawaiian Airlines had an incident last week that was not publicly attributed to anyone, but the story said it sounds a lot like Scattered Spider. Hawaii Airlines. Wow. That's a cool airline. But basically, Scattered Spider uses a technique where they did a self-service password reset on a user. So this is where they call you up and they say, "Hi, this is Phil from the help desk, and we're going to need to reset your password, and I'll walk you through the whole process, okay? All right. First of all, click this. Now, tell me what the code says on your phone." Excellent. And then they basically took over the MFA, reassigned it to some device they controlled, and then they were able to get into the network through Citrix. So maybe your industry's next. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're going to come after somebody else. Maybe you're in the aviation and transportation industry. I don't know. But I think what I would want to say about this is you should develop a solid plan for your all password reset operations that you really disseminate to your employees to tell them, here's what to expect and what not to expect. Just like the IRS sends out all those notifications saying, we're never going to call you or send you an email. I assure you, you will get a snail mail letter and a fancy envelope from the IRS. So whatever you're going to do, maybe tell your people pretty clearly about that, because this seems to be a growing area. I mean, it's always a good time to review this stuff, right? And maybe conduct some sampling tests to see how many users go for the bait, if you call them. I mean, I was doing those tests back in 1980s. We were testing people to see if they would fall for help desk scams. So, eventually old Gil down in sales is going to say, sure, let me just pull that up and it's all over but the crying. But, test it, find out what your percentages are so you have some kind of feeling for what your risk level is. I really think you should do that. Hikvision is a security camera brand that you see all over the place, and you expect it's going to be surveillance on Lil Abner and Pops or something like that, but it's actually, no, a common camera. Well, Hikvision is owned by the Chinese, and the Canadian government has now ordered that the Hikvision subsidiary in Canada, called Hikvision Canada, should cease all operations following a review that described them as a national security risk. The subsidiary was ordered to cease all operations and close their Canadian business. I mean, it's like, wow, you get the Canadians mad. They don't fool around. I mean, normally Canadians are pretty nice. And if you piss them off, you're doing something pretty wrong, right? So this decision bans all government organizations and crown corporations from buying or using Hikvision equipment. So Hikvision Canada is a subsidiary of Hangzhou Digital Technology, which is the largest manufacturer of digital tech in the world. And a lot of scrutiny has been focused on Hikvision brand around the world as it is used heavily by governments. And it's Chinese, a hostile foreign power. And I mean, why do you need to hire James Bond or Wang Li or whomever you've got when you can just say, turn on the camera feeds and we'll watch all the action remotely? I mean, now there's not any evidence, understand, that this has actually gone on, but other governments, including the United States, have banned the sale of Hikvision products. They probably just rebranded it, and now it's called, West Vision or something, and they just, it's all the same product under the hood, but, Hikvision is banned. But Hikvision, as you might guess, has said that they strongly disagree with the decision and that it lacks factual basis, procedural fairness, and transparency. So you may want to use Chinese-made cameras, but I would advise you to test them very, very carefully before you point them at, anything important like the reactor controls. And I just don't trust any of this stuff. So you may want to test what it's doing when it's connected and what kind of risk you're taking. Okay, I like this one now. Cybercrime will likely become one of the strongest economies in the world within the next 5 years. And in fact, maybe the third largest economy in the world. Cybercrime. Not Ecuador, cybercrime. I mean, okay, I think it's time for us to just turn evil. See ya. I'm going to be off ransomwaring little old ladies out of their life savings from some Caribbean island until I can afford my own island layer. And then, I'm going to shave my head, get some facial scars and a bald cat. I can be Dr. Squirmy. What could Squirm stand for? System quality unease, really mad. I'm terrible at acronyms. I really am. I actually went to a conference once that was with ISIS. Yeah, they had to change their name later. ISIS is also the International Species Information System, if you're wondering. It's also a routing protocol, but they pronounce it is to stay out of trouble. And oh yeah, it is an international terrorist organization. But Squirm, I want you to squirm, Mr. Bond. Oh, what was I even talking? Okay, I know what it's talking about. Cybercrime. MasterCard research said that criminal activity could account for $15.6 trillion of economic activity by 2029. I don't know, maybe we should start supporting it. It creates jobs or something like that. Like, hey, you want to turn your economy around? Just get into cybercrime. It's the only way to go. I mean, literally, this would make this economy larger than India, Germany, and Japan all combined. I mean, is there an index fund where we can invest in cyber? I'm going to start one. Me and Josh will start an index fund that tracks the cybercrime index. The ticker's going to be scam.
You can't do that, but you can do betting. We could do wagers on site. We could have a Vegas style bookies betting on who's going to get whacked next.
All right. I like it. And Josh is going to be our enforcer. He can be my button man for the mob and like go out and use his skills. In one of the surveys, 72% of organizations perceived a rise in cyber risk, and 1/3 of polled network traffic on the internet, 1/3 was malicious botnet traffic. So with AI making it easier to target people via social engineering, hey, Mr. Body, could you go out and make some phone calls to little old ladies so we can scam them? Or, even better, letting AI create botnets, shifting attack vectors, on and on and on. Smart bots are coming for you. That's starting to sound about right, Reed. That drone that's hovering outside my window right now that's demanding I put my wallet in the basket, or it's just I will stab you repeatedly with my stabby attachment. This should keep us all busy for a while, right? So yeah, episode 500 is nothing. Let's talk about episode 5,000. Yeah. A warning issued yesterday by major U.S. security agencies warns that federal agencies and American businesses should be on heightened alert for attacks on critical infrastructure using distributed denial of service and ransomware attacks. This comes hot on the heels of a U.S. attack on Iran last week. Now, despite a sort of ceasefire in the exchange of kinetic weaponry between the U.S., Israel, and Iran, cyber attackers affiliated with the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IIRGC, I don't know what that's what it's really called, they may continue to target U.S. devices and networks because, who's to say where that attack actually came from? And I mean, they've been doing this all along, right? I mean, it's not like this was something new. But these groups have historically targeted poorly secured U.S. networks. You don't have one of those, do you? And internet-connected devices. The warning was issued by the National Security Agency, or NSA, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, or FBI, and the Department of Defense Cybercrime Center, or DC-3. Or maybe it's DC cubed. I'm not sure. But specific groups like APT-33, which is called ELFIN, who target aviation, energy, ICS, APT-34, which is called Muddy Water, is a government espionage group. APT-35, Charming Kitten, is the spearfishing and media impersonation branch. And of course, the Iranian cyber army is running distributed denial of service and ideological defacements, whatever that means. And also another one called Void Manticore, which does wiper, malware, and ransomware. So they've got it all set up by division. They probably call it different names, but it's there. So if you add all that, and then you add the potential for hacktivists who are targeting you because they disagree with your position on Israel, or they disagree with your position on Iran, or they just don't like you because you happen to make bug spray. Well, all of that seems like we are pretty much living in uncertain times. So be vigilant, test your MFA, test your employees, patch up, make sure your borders are secure. And do you still have that brother printer outward facing? Yeah, that. Bro, do you even private VLAN? So segment, segment test. And remember, that help desk is not calling to help to tell you to change your password, and you don't owe $900 in parking citations to the city of New York. Well, actually, that last one may be true. I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't got all my parking and speeding citations from Germany yet, but I'm sure they'll be rolling in any day. Windows 11 25H2 is coming out shortly. They said it would be rolling out this month. It's basically the exact same source code as last year's Model 24H2, but it does allow them to enable some things on your system that they want to enable. Probably Edge. They really want to enable Edge. I mean, really, really bad. Like it constantly pops up going, hey, can I help you with that? Let's install Edge as your default browser. I'm like, no, leave me alone. No. I'm going to write an app that blocks Edge from setting itself default. But anyway, this stuff's going to roll out this summer. And normally I wouldn't even bother telling you about this, but I just couldn't resist because guess what? They claim they're nerfing the blue screen of death. Dun, dun, dun. What? Oh, come on. How can you do this? The single most iconic component of Microsoft Windows, and you're going to get rid of it? No more BSODs? It's like making a Ford Pinto that doesn't explode on impact. Come on. It's iconic. The BSOD, then it goes on. The BSOD, which will no longer be called the BSOD, will be replaced with a black, unexpected restart screen, or the BERS, but it will still have the stop code on the bottom. I wonder what this cost. I wonder what all the R&D costs to change the screen from blue to black and rename it unexpected restart screen. I mean, we're changing the BSOD. The BSOD will no longer be called the BSOD. It'll now be called the BSOD, but the B stands for black, not blue. Anybody who's wrong will be let go. You'll get the sack this afternoon. Now it's the black screen of death. Yeah, I bet it cost a lot of money to do this. And then all the marketing and promotions about how no more BSODs, folks. It's all going to be BSODs from here on in. They're also rolling out tools which will allow vendors to run antivirus and endpoint protections in user mode outside the kernel due to the whole CrowdStrike hoo-ha BSOD last year, right? I'm sorry, not a BSOD, but a BSOD. So remember that. Lots of black screens of death. Yeah, but ultimately 25H2 is the same source code as 24H2, so everything should be compatible except the BSOD. The blue screen is now a black screen. Do it now. Yes, sir, on it. Marketing is very pleased. No more BSODs. Wait, no. Wait. Okay, we have to call it something else. Yeah, okay. Whatever. Well, be careful out there. I get a lot of job offers on LinkedIn, and none of them seem to be too realistic. They always offer me a lot of money to do almost nothing. I'm like, I should take this. In fact, I was just offered money to rent my LinkedIn user connections list to some third party by the day so that they could spam all my connections. Fun. I was like, can you just spam the connections I don't really like that spam me? Or no, you have to spam. Okay, well, just forget it then. But a lot of job offers can be fake, as you know, and a lot of remote employees can be fake as well. And they may even be North Koreans out to make money for dear leader. So the U.S. Department of Justice announced yesterday that they are taking sweeping actions against North Korean IT worker schemes, and they had arrested one individual. So not that sweeping, I guess, but they got one person. They also seized 29 financial accounts, 21 fraudulent websites, and nearly 200 computers in this exchange. They said they searched 21 known or suspected laptop farms between the 1st and the 17th of June in 14 states. Wow, that sounds expensive. But I mean, basically, they recruit someone here. Hey there, Paula, would you like to make a lot of extra money every day? Hey, let me tell you what you're going to do. And then they come to you receive these laptops for the employees instead of them being shipped to, my home address is in Pyongyang. Yeah, that might be a tip off. But if your home address is in, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, okay. So they set up the relays, they handle all the correspondence, they sign all the receipts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they receive the mailed out laptops for the company, set up an RDP or something so the North Koreans can pose as Ken Sanderson from Hapshat, Wisconsin. So look, if you're doing this sort of thing, you might want to watch out because they seem to be catching on. But if you're hiring remote workers better, let's figure out a way to, have a better protocol for this. You can hire me. You can hire me to go interview the people in person. I have a PI license. I'll go do it. You send me out, put me on a plane. I'll go out to Hapshat, Wisconsin. Go, hi, is Ken here? And they're like, oh, not right now. Are those? Yeah, okay. But think about this carefully. You do need to vet your remote employees regularly to ensure, not just once, but regularly to ensure that they're not just relaying from some laptop on a farm being run by Brenda and Ned in their apartment. Okay. Cloudflare is now introducing the ability to block AI companies from scraping their websites for content, according to Cloudflare. Now, this in a move, it's probably a move that's a little bit too late, but it is an effort to help protect original content going forward. So, I mean, AI companies have been scraping up everything that their hungry little AI, I don't know, what should we call them? Larva? Their hungry little AI larva are wanting to train on. So Cloudflare said they rolled out a new permission-based setting that would allow customers to automatically block AI bots that are trying to scrape the site. They didn't really say how this works exactly, and I can't afford Cloudflare. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a large corporate entity behind me, but I mean, so I don't really know how it works. But the idea is, of course, that if you're putting up any kind of original content on the interweb, a cartoon, a drawing, a paper, whatever, the AI bot can just suck that up and then create similar things. And that worries a lot of writers and artists with good reason, right? I mean, if you're a painter or a sculptor and some bot can just grab all your work, use it as a basis to make more of your work, okay. Now, it means that online content creators won't create, right? Because they're like, well, I'm not going to do this because if I write a song and put it on the interweb and then some bot grabs the song and creates all additional songs that sound like me, I'm pretty much out of business. And so, Cloudflare said they were 100% confident they could block bots from getting any content. I don't know. I mean, every paper I wrote's probably already been scraped into the LLMs by now, right? I mean, they're already there because they were up on websites. I mean, an enhancement of the Pocket algorithm with Ratchet for use in data mining applications paper has probably been reused thousands of times to create anime fanfic by now. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, Lou and I are kind of like Jay and Silent Bob in that fanfic. Yeah, you can guess which one I am from the names. But it is a problem. OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google did not respond for requests for comments on this. So maybe Cloudflare will help. Maybe. Well, they'll help their customers. They're not going to help me. I'm on my own here. So all my yodeling albums are going to be like ripped off by bots. Well, back from his recent tour where he taught people surprise goat yoga with honey badgers substituted for the goats, it's Josh Marpet. Hi, Josh.
Honey badgers and goat yoga. Oh, shit. Okay.
Wouldn't that be great? People think they're going to get this relaxing goat to walk on them, and you just throw a honey badger on their back and it's like a stress release thing. It's just
for the honey badger, maybe not for the people.
Well, yeah, I was actually thinking of the animals first.
naked hot honey badger yoga. It doesn't roll off the tongue properly. I don't know.
You put up a website with that on it, baby, you're going to be rich. Rich, I tells you. Naked goat yoga honey badgers or something like naked honey
Rule
badger goat
34
yoga.
may be involved, but anyway, okay. So,
Do it.
oh God,
Just do it. Do it.
there's some AI going, I can do that for you. Would you like me to create that image? Would you like a video? Speaking of AI, my article this week is about the NICE framework. And it's not how do you be nice, because we all know, Doug, that you would ignore that. But the
I
article
would.
is actually about the NIST. What's it? It's the workforce framework that they have, and they have a workforce framework for cybersecurity. It's been around since 2020, I think. But what happened is they're recently revising it for AI. So this is actually kind of cogent. I don't know how many of you have friends that been laid off in the last couple of years, because I'm pretty sure all of us do, because there's been so many layoffs over the last few years. It has been if I said ugly for the last few years, I don't think I'd be pretty far off, right? I think we all know people that have been out of work for months and even years because they're just not able to find a new gig. And frankly, considering that they redefined entry level jobs to mean 3 to 5 year experience, I am weirded out about this whole job market, let me tell you. Okay. Luckily, I have a job. I love my job. I work with great people. And I have a side job and another side job and podcasts and 2 kids. So I don't get to sleep. But anyway, but NIST has put together, and the NICE group, which is a group inside of NIST, has put together the impact of generative artificial intelligence on education and workforce. That was their 2023 webinar. Their annual conference in 2024 was the impact of artificial intelligence on education and cybersecurity workforce. You can see where this is going. They're basically trying to figure out, what do you need to know to be an AI-enabled worker in the cybersecurity workforce? And how will artificial intelligence, how will AI, LLMs impact that workforce for the people that haven't been upskilling to use AI? And so they're taking this very, very seriously, and I absolutely respect it. Okay. This is actually a very, very solid idea and group of people putting this stuff together. So what they're doing is they have 2 ways that they're incorporating AI into the NICE framework. And the NICE framework is that workforce framework. Artificial intelligence security competency area. So this is a competency area. This is, if you know X, Y, and Z, you are competent at AI. What are the foundational knowledge and skills? So that is right now available for public comment. If you have thoughts about what it takes for you to become competent at working with LLMs and AI, please go and comment. The link to the article is in the show notes. Inside of the first couple of lines in the artificial AI security competency area, there's the link for the public comment. Please go put a comment in. I'm doing it. I'm actually got about a half a page written. It includes NIST AI 100-1, which is the AI Risk Management Framework, AI RMF 1.0, the NSF Artificial Intelligence Scholarships for Service. They have the Department of Defense Cyber Workforce Framework and the NSF NSA Cyber AI Project. In other words, there's some great resources in this article. All right. The other part of this is, so that's, what do you need to know to be competent in AI? Cool. That's number one. Then there's also the workforce, the framework work roles, the what do people do as part of their job. Think of these as sort of generic job descriptions. They all need to be redone, because as part of almost all of the workforce roles in cybersecurity, we absolutely have to understand that how is AI going to change? What do they call it? The task, knowledge, and skill (TKS) statements in your roles, in existing, new roles, whatever. So I keep thinking about TPS reports, but it's close. It's the TKS reports. So the idea here is that, how are the roles going to change? And what do you need to know to have a new role, or have the AI actions of the role, to be competent at them? So we've got to address the strategic implications, the workforce implications, because security of AI, security through AI, which is how do you use AI to be a support for security, is going to be changing, and it's changing on a daily basis. If you don't engage, if you don't comment, if you don't be part of this discussion, you are letting other people make these choices and have this discussion without you. please, 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 please comment. If I haven't said it before, let me say it again. Get your ass to the public comment section and put a comment in there. Why? Number one, you have now commented on this act. You can now put that on things like your resume. You can get involved in the working groups and be part of the people that actually write down the roles. Do you think that AI is going to be important for SOC analysts? SOC analyst 1, 2, or 3? Those are generic roles. Great. How is it going to change the role? Do you want to write that out? Do you want to shape and channel that to the place where you think it should be? Become part of this. It's volunteer, but it's important. So there's so many ways you can engage. There's so many ways you can be part of it. Even not as a government person, you can be part of the working groups. You can be part of the coordinating council, interagency coordinating council, community coordinating council. There's all sorts of things you can do. I cannot say this enough. I got into standards authorship because of sheer frustration with how crappy some of the standards were. By doing so, it has enhanced my career. It has enhanced my knowledge. It has made me have a very weird dinner table conversations. But other than that, my wife is also in compliance, so we will discuss frameworks at the dinner table, and our girls just like, what the hell are mom and dad talking about? Then we have to explain it to them, and my girls are going to grow up and basically be like, you can't do that. That's against NIST 853, and their teachers are going to be seriously weirded out. Let me tell you. But the point is that if you get involved in this, you get to shape it and move it forward. You get to be part of the forces changing the world. I think that's important. And I think that putting your name in there is useful for your resume, useful for your personality, and useful for you to feel that you're making a difference. Okay. So please do it. The article is really good. I really strongly can't recommend enough to make a comment and get engaged. If we allow people who don't have any real world experience in the cybersecurity workforce to write the job descriptions for the cybersecurity workforce, we lose. It's just that simple. Doug, back to you, sir.
You should have lit an unfiltered cigarette right about then and said good night and good luck. But
take care, everybody.
Yeah. Old time newscasters. Thank you, Josh. The U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case that could determine if ISPs will shut you down if you're accused of copyright infringement. Now, I remember this very, very well because I had a student come in. This was long, long ago from a Japanese student, and she was crying because she got this super threatening, nasty letter from Disney that basically was telling her she was going to owe all this money, she could get put in jail, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And basically all of this was because she put a picture of Minnie Mouse on her website in 1998 that was seen by like 4 people. I mean, they were aggressive. Disney's famous for it. You know, they send out thugs wearing little mouse ears and they beat you senseless if you violate one of their copyrights. Sony used to send bills to us at the university again in the 90s. And they told us either we could pay the bills or we could make the students pay the bills by basically attacking their tuition and their transcripts. And some of these bills were astronomical, like $8,000-$10,000 because the students had downloaded music. I mean, big bills. Now, in this new case, Sony sued an ISP, and they said that the ISP was liable for copyright infringement since the ISP failed to terminate users accused of piracy. Not convicted, just accused. Sony wanted the ISP to disconnect users at their IP address that have been using the IP for torrents. Now, I don't know how the ISP was supposed to determine what was in the torrents, how they were, et cetera, et cetera. But Cox Communications was hit with a $1 billion with a B dollar judgment that was later overturned. The first court was very favorable to Sony. The second one, not as much. And this was overturned on appeal because they basically said that you weren't actually collecting any money from this, et cetera. Now, I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But Sony told our university this way back then, back in the 90s and early 2000s. They said, if we don't collect this money and pay it to Sony, Sony will make, they will make the university pay through a massive lawsuit. So, yeah. So we went and got the students, just like went to their dorms and said, okay, guess what? You owe Sony Music $8,647.12 for downloading music. Now, Cox got this $1 billion verdict overturned on appeal since the court said they did not profit directly from the piracy, but they were still being hit with a contributory infringement charge, and they've been ordered to hear a new damages trial. So the case is going to go to the Supreme Court because both sides are saying, we don't want to be. Cox says, look, we can't be responsible for what users do, and we don't want to spy on the users, even though they probably do. And we can't police users. Sony wants to ensure that they wring every penny out of every note of music played. Now, other suits have also been filed by other record labels, and another federal court ruled in October that an ISP should have terminated users who were accused of piracy. Accused, mind you. Another ISP, Frontier Communications, settled with Universal, Sony, and Warner for an undisclosed amount in an undisclosed settlement last month. So, yeah. Anyway, that is the news. I will be doing interviews at Black Hat in August if you're interested, so you can buy one if you'd like. But thank you, Josh. And we will see you next time on the Security Weekly News.